Hello, welcome. Welcome, friends and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. We are Club 17, which is the 17th club out of 46,000 Rotary clubs worldwide. Our motto is service above self, and we are proudly in our second century of service to Cincinnati. We are delighted to welcome Tim Trant as our speaker today. Tim is the CEO of G&J Pepsi-Cola Bottling, Inc. Thank you for being here, Tim. I did note that G&J is the largest wholly owned franchise in the country. So we're really looking forward to learning about your 98-year history and the future for G&J. Thanks again for being here. Let's start our meeting with the national anthem, led by Director Bill Stilley, accompanied by Kay Atkins. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? And doing double duty today, Kay Atkins will offer our four-way test and invocation, and I will just hold on one more moment. Thanks, Kay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, President Steve. Please join me. God of the universe, thank you for bringing us the magic of seasons as we start the informal beginning of summer. June is a time of celebrations, long hours of daylight, spending time outdoors with family and friends, traveling, and treasuring all the opportunities that summer brings on. We are grateful for the magic of watching the sky, the ever-changing cloud formations, sunsets, sunrises, and early morning mists. We members of Rotary International honor our occupations as an opportunity to serve society in an ethical manner. We champion those in our community who invest in their work, seek excellence in their business associates, and develop products and services that represent the fine people of this region. We especially honor those who not only are leaders in their companies, but volunteer their time, expertise, skills, and management insights to nonprofit boards and good works in our communities. Our club's mission statement is providing selfless service in the community and the world through involved and engaged members. Service above self. We appreciate receiving our meal today and those who prepared and served it. Amen. Let us repeat the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Kay, thank you so much for that beautiful invocation. Now to welcome our guests and prospective members, Ariel Miller.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our guests who are honoring us by your presence today. A guest of Michael Schatzman is Trevor Cobain from Alta ITS. Andrew Hilton is from U.S. Bank, and he's the guest of Ali Hussein. Brian Holland is coming to us from the nonprofit Genesis at Work, which works with people with special needs, and we're really grateful to meet him, and he is the guest of Rick Findley. Travis Nipper is from Master Provisions in Northern Kentucky, which is a major regional food rescue program, and he is a guest of Michael Schatzman. Another friend of Michael Schatzman is John Mardis, who comes from Alloy Development, which is Hamilton County's economic development arm. And finally, I have not yet seen Steve Easley, but if you're here, Steve, would you stand up? He is a guest of Ken Saunders, and we hope we see him next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ariel. Welcome, guests. We really appreciate you being here. We hope you'll come back and join us in service. With the start of, I was jumping you, Judy. I apologize. Now, from a word from our meeting sponsor, Judy Pogue.
Hello, everyone. Well, I think all of you know I'm with Comey & Shepherd Realtors. I work in the corporate office, and I work with companies who relocate people, so you all know that. You all know that we have some of the best realtors in the city. You probably know some of them yourselves, and you know that. But we have a new program I wanted to introduce to you today. So recently we started a program called Improve and Move, whereby we will advance monies up front for repairs to your home. If you don't want to take monies out of savings or investments, we'll go ahead, get estimates for you, advance the monies to get it done, as long as you put your home on the market within 15 days of the work being completed. So it's a really good program that we've had a lot of success with recently. And how we get our money back is we just get paid back at closing. So in many instances, like I'll give you a few examples here. One of our realtors had a listing in Delhi that he said would sell for $145,000. We put $8,200 into it to do some painting, recarpeting. It sold for $197 after the work was done, and of course we got our $8,200 back at closing. Additionally, one of our realtors had a listing in Liberty Township. She said it would sell as is for $325. We put $10,500 into it. The seller put another $2,000 into it, and it sold for $365,000. And my last example was one we had recently. It was a home in Clifton that would have sold for $250,000 in as-is condition. We put, between us and the owners, we put $85,000 into it, put it on the market for $499.9, and it sold for $555. So we have some really good examples of how meaningful this program can be for you. If you're interested in hearing more about it, I put these little flyers, of course, with the top 10 reasons to use Comey & Shepherd Realtors, as well as an overview of our home selling and buying services. Don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.
Thank you, Judy Poe. Thank you so much for Comey & Shepherd for sponsoring our meeting and supporting membership development, too. Now, with the start of June, it is officially balloon season. And here to tell us all about our Camp Allen Balloon program is Chair Mark Supine.
Hey, so this year is our 30th year of hosting the balloon rides at Camp Allen. So the balloon rides, I have a little slide going, you can kind of look over there too, as opposed to me, but it's a unique experience for the campers and also for the Rotarians that come out. We can't do this experience without you guys volunteering. So if you look around the room, we need 5 Rotarians usually to come out and do it. It'd be nice if ones that haven't been out come out, but we need all the help. If there's 20 that come out, that'd be great also. You get rewarded immediately by seeing the smiles on the campers' faces. They're excited to be there. We do this every Tuesday. Last year it was Wednesday. This year we're doing Tuesdays with a Wednesday makeup. So a lot of times there's wind, and it can just be 8 miles an hour of wind, and we will not do the rides. But we'll send out emails letting you know it's canceled. On the tables, there's a QR code and some information. I also have some little business cards I can give you after the meeting to let you know the dates and everything else. Sorry, John? No? You're good? Okay. Anyway, so what do? You show up at the camp at 6:15. You help set up the balloon and help take it down. Help the campers get in and out of the balloon. And when we're finished, you and your family can go up in the balloon. This is one of the unique Rotary events where you can bring your grandchildren, your children, yourself, your mom, whatever you like. Not extended family per se, but we like, again, family, grandchildren, everybody's welcome. So what happens when you bring your family? You get to create some memories. This is my family earlier on and my family now coming out and doing the balloon rides. So bring your family and make some memories. So these are the dates. And when you come out, with your help and volunteering, well, we end up with a lot of happy campers. So again, appreciate it. Do the QR code, sign up, and thank you. Thank you.
Mark, thanks for your dedication to the campers out there in this program. You've been doing it for many years, and it's shaping up to be a great season. Thank you. Now, to tell us more about that convertible road rally that we've been hearing all about is the organizer, Bob McElroy.
Thank you. Oh, thanks. Thank you. On Saturday, June 10th, that's next Saturday, a week from this coming Saturday, we'll have the Rotary Car Rally leaving from Schmidt Field on Riverside Drive, or you may know it as Eastern Avenue. We'll leave at 11 a.m. in the morning from Watson Street, which is the far eastern entrance to Schmidt Field. This is a combination fundraiser and fun event. We're asking for a minimum donation of $25 to help with our World Affairs Committee and Rotary International's efforts to help support those in need in the conflict in Ukraine. You can charge your credit card with the Rotary office or donate at the start of the rally with a check or cash. We go east to New Richmond and then meander up through Claremont County into Warren County. The route's mostly on country roads and is about 60 miles total, passing through Batavia, Goshen, Morrow, and South Lebanon. It's a beautiful ride with a convertible if you have one. I've driven it a few times and it takes about an hour and a half, with stops along the way to let stragglers catch up. And there usually is. The route ends at Briar Patch Farm in Warren County, within sight and a couple of miles north of Kings Island. Feel free to bring any toys you may want to play with, like drones, telescopes, fishing poles, swimsuits, or a horse if you have one. There are riding trails and a swimming pool. Our family enjoys launching Chinese lanterns since the farm is on a hilltop, and we don't start any fires. Pack your own picnic lunch and your favorite drinks, and feel free to bring friends, pets, or kids. The rain date's June 17th if the weather's terrible next Saturday. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. That sounds like a lot of fun and a great way to support our friends in Kharkiv and Ukraine. Few announcements. Birthdays. Tuesday, May 30th, was Rich Deneen's birthday. Today is Katie Nziku's birthday. And today is also Darlene Underwood's birthday. Darlene, happy birthday. For any of you who were here early, you know that the Hilton set off the fire alarms for Darlene's celebration. So thank you for that false alarm, Darlene. She was going to save all of our lives by directing traffic to the exits. All right, split the pot. Okay, split the pot. Let's see. Ariel, will you draw a ticket and don't draw your own?
I'm not looking, so I can't see what color.
It's a blue ticket. You're still in it. The last 3 digits are 014. Now, I don't know how much you're drawing for. $41, excellent. 014, do we have a winner? All right, Bill, fantastic. All right, so what's the total? What's the revolving pot? What's the accumulating pot up to? We don't know. Oh, all right. Well, hey, next time, better luck. Thanks for supporting Split the Pot. We have recently added a hands-on service project for this Saturday, June 3rd, 9 to noon, the Mill Creek Alliance. Our friends at the Mill Creek Alliance have asked for volunteers to help eliminate honeysuckle along the Mill Creek Greenway. The meeting location will be the Yellow Bridge, C. Huxmiller, and DAC-DB for details. Our next Rotary Happy Hour is next Wednesday, June 7th at the Sam Adams Tap Room in OTR, 4:30 to 6:30. RSVPs are not required, but are encouraged. The office would like to remind you that Rotary dues payments are due in 2 weeks on June 15th. If you need a copy of your invoice, see Christy or email the office. On-time payments will save the club Rotary International dues. So thank you for that. Now, we do have 2 other Rotary raffle baskets to raffle off as part of our basket fundraising campaign to support our committees and the committee budgets. Would Mark Ramito and Jeff Weir come up here? You guys can help us draw the winning ticket for the baskets that your committees put together. So Jeff, you are the fun, let's see if I have it written here properly. So the Club Social Affairs Committee's Day at the Races, Bowling, Red Light Table, Euchre, and Golf. Director Jeff Weir, your committee's sold a bunch of tickets. Could you pick the winning ticket for us?
Honored, sir.
All right, it's a red ticket. Red ticket, let's see, the last 3 digits are 026. Do you have the basket? 026? Who was the big winner? Kelly, congratulations, that's great. Well, yes, that is correct. All right, Mark Ramito, Mr. Membership Engagement. Let's see, your committees were Member Retention, Rotarians at Work, Women in Rotary, and Young Professionals. Would you care to draw a winning ticket? Okay, we've picked one. Here we go. All right, the winning ticket of the bourbon basket is 069. No! You all saw it here. That stranger than fiction, everybody. Stranger than fiction. Now, Kelly, you might want to check your split the pot ticket with Bill Heinrich. So for anyone who didn't win one of the raffles today, a generous member had an extra scarf from our large club conference and is donating it to a happy home. It says Rotary Club of Cincinnati on it. If you would like to claim it, it will be up here, and you can claim it at the end of the meeting. Well, let's see. With all of this heat that we've had this week, I have grown very thirsty. I really could use a cold refreshment is what I could really use. Does anybody have a cold refreshment?
A Pepsi will do.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Ali, you're a lifesaver.
Anything for you,
Hey,
Steve.
88 degrees outside. King Steve needs a Pepsi. Ali, you are a lifesaver. Would you care to introduce our speaker?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. By the way, they say every day is a Pepsi day. Just remember that. All right. It gives me great honor to introduce Tim Trant. As you all read about his bio, he joined G&J Pepsi Bottlers, Inc. as CEO in 2020. The company is owned by a local Cincinnati family. It's a great family. They are very generous in the community and have done a lot for the communities they are involved in. Prior to joining G&J Pepsi Cola Bottlers, Inc., Tim spent about 25 or 26 years with PepsiCo in various capacities. He was in sales, marketing, he was a senior vice president. He retired from there. Then he also worked for, as a chief customer officer at Barfresh Food Group, Inc., and then corporate VP national sales at Cisco Company. On a personal side, he earned his bachelor's and master's degree from University in Dayton. He lives in the lovely city of Mason. And, and I also live in Mason. And the most interesting thing is, as I was driving to work, as everyone knows, there's a big P&G office. And Lord behold, what drives out of there? A Pepsi truck. I said, it is a Pepsi day. But Tim is very family-oriented, and he has 3 daughters who have all graduated from college, and they're off his payroll. And he also enjoys skiing, golfing, and basketball. With that, let's give a warm Rotary welcome to Tim.
Thank you, Ollie. And Steve, thank you. Appreciate the invite, and it's really an honor to be here. T.R. Gross, one of our owners, asked, that Pepsi come in today, and Ollie invited me to speak, and couldn't be more honored. And so, an esteemed group for sure. So it's really good to be here. I've never been to a Rotary, but read a lot about them growing up, and my uncle was in Pittsburgh, part of the Rotary Club, and just always was interested in it. So it's great to be here, personal wish. So hey, I'm here today to talk about Gross and Jarson Pepsi. It is a family-owned bottler operator, so we're an independently owned organization. And I'll explain a little bit of the difference between PepsiCo and our bottling business. But I'll tell you a little bit about the history. Today, 3rd generation, T.R. Gross up on the top left is a member of the Rotary, and on the right is Steve Kaplan. The J in G&J is actually Jarson, and now the last name is Kaplan. Steve and T.R. are co-chairs. I have the privilege of being the CEO, and Katie Bilak is our recent CFO. At G&J. So there's about 25 shareholders of family members within the Gross and Jarson family. And how did they get their start, which is a really good story. So actually, 2 women, Nell Gross and Esther Jarson, they worked at a company called the Grand Pop Bottling Company 98 years ago. And they were in the front office, and they overheard the ownership saying that they wanted to sell. So they went out to dinner in Cincinnati with their boyfriends at the time and convinced them to buy the business, all 4 of them together. And so that was one heck of a dinner because 98 years later and $650 million business that they built, really right here downtown Cincinnati. And about 20 years ago, we moved out to Mason, our headquarters. But Pepsi actually, the Grand Pop Bottling Company sold different beverages, and about 1935, Pepsi went around the country, no different than the guys in red, and tried to get different families to be distributors of their product. And so in 1935, they chose G&J to be a Pepsi bottler. And so that really started the path, and eventually over the years we got into Dr. Pepper brands about 50 years ago, similar type of story. And today we have about 600, 700 SKUs of a multitude of brands that I'll share with you. But it's a great story, especially with just the ingenuity and the fortitude of the two women that actually stepped up and said, hey, listen, I have an idea. And you think back then, how many women were in business and how astute they were, and then, their families to get along with anybody for 98 years, but two different families in the third generation, and hopefully fourth generation, some of the younger Gross and Jarson and Kaplans get into the business. So that's part of my job, try and figure that out. But anyway, it's a really good story, and right here in Cincinnati, born. So who are we? So the map on the top right, all the blue area is PepsiCo owns 80% of the bottlers around the country. So at one time I used to run, for example, Cincinnati and Dayton. That's owned by PepsiCo. And then Gross and Jarson, we have about 61 counties. Some are split a little bit in Ohio and Kentucky. So there's about 79 family or businesses that own Pepsi-Cola bottling franchises around the country. And so, over the last maybe 15 years, 15 of them have sold, but most of them are very vibrant and good businesses. Like I said earlier, in 2023, we'll have $650 million in sales. We have locations, we have production plants, so think of us as we make, sell, and deliver. There's somebody in New York at PepsiCo or Keurig Dr. Pepper Company in Frisco, Texas, that actually creates the brands, and then we actually make, sell, and deliver, price the products, et cetera. And I'll give you some examples of some things you may not know. The 2,000 employees we have are spread across our 4 production plants in Columbus, Lexington, Kentucky, Winchester, Kentucky, and Franklin Furnace, Ohio. And then we have warehouse locations in Athens, Hamilton. We just opened one up in Maysville, Kentucky this past year, Wilmington, Ohio, Zanesville, Ohio. We also have a blow molding plant in Columbus, and that actually, and we're actually going to get into injection blowing. You get resin, you make a preform, you blow it up, it becomes a bottle. And this bottle we then fill, so more vertical type of integration of our production process. And then I'll talk a little bit about also, we have a company we started recently. TR Gross is really the brains behind it, but Middle Street Graphics and Display is now soon to be a 110,000 square foot facility in Columbus that has been growing exponentially, and I'll show you what we do there, but it's mainly a lot of shippers that you see in the Kroger store or Walmart and Meijer and every grocery store, any signage you see, displays, and we do a bunch of other things that I'll talk about. So that's our business, and we also in Ripley, Ohio have a service center, so if you see fountain equipment, coolers, and vending machines, we fix them there and ship them out all over our marketplace. Our headquarters is in Mason, Ohio, right behind the Auto Mall, and we have about 40 people there. Actually, we're remodeling it as we speak, and so we've been proud to be part of the Cincinnati community. Our largest location is in Columbus, and we're actually, the dark blue parts are what we're going to add on to about a 75,000 square foot warehouse this coming year, and then redoing the offices. Within Cincinnati, there's locations in Erlanger, Kentucky, that they're not ours, but they're PepsiCo, right by the airport. Off of Sunnybrook, which I used to work out of in Reading, and then in Dayton and Fairborn, Ohio now. But when I got my start coming out of the University of Dayton, it was in Dayton, Ohio. Pepsi, I got hired off of campus, and it's been a wonderful experience to be part of the Pepsi system for now 28 years. But the Dayton plant was the oldest plant in the world, and so I cut my teeth, I guess, learning the operations side of that business, and then went back into a large sales, mergers and acquisitions in Chicago and in New York, and then ran food service for North America, which is really all the fountain and bottle and can. So some of the brands that we have a plethora of brands that make up close to 600 to 700 SKUs in our warehouses that we put on our trucks and deliver. And we have a multitude of packaging in cans and bottles, et cetera, and glass. So everybody probably figures out, Pepsi and Mountain Dew are our 2 big flagship. Dr. Pepper is about 15 to 20% of our mix. is a huge brand. And in the Ohio market, Pepsi has, and Kentucky has share advantage versus the guys in red, which isn't everywhere. They're the number one company worldwide or in the U.S., but in this neck of the woods, we're proud to have a little bit more share advantage. We also have Gatorade. So Gatorade's a fast-growing brand that keeps coming out with new innovation like Gator Light and Fast Twitch. You might see on the NFL sidelines this year. It's a kind of an energy isotonic. We have Lipton products. We also do Frappuccino, a favorite of many, cold coffee. So we have partnerships. So we basically partner with Starbucks and Lipton, who's owned by Unilever, and then we distribute their brands for them as well. So that's usually how those types of partnerships work. The Starry on the bottom left there and the top right is our new Sierra Mist went out to pasture, if you will. And Starry now is a lemon lime and competes with brands like Sprite that we just launched this past Super Bowl and investing in it during the NBA playoffs. If you watch those, you'd see Starry all over the place. And we have energy drinks like Celsius and Rockstar and Mountain Dew Energy. We have Aquafina water, Life Water. So really our past chairperson, Indra Nui for PepsiCo, she used to say, we have brands around the spectrum. We have brands that are fun for you, that it may be more indulgent. We have brands that are good for you and brands that are better for you. And so whatever your palate enjoys, we have something for you. We also have brands like Tropicana and Naked Juice, things that are much healthier and go with different day parts, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner across that page there. We mainly sell cans and bottles and then some glass. One of the more interesting things this year, a couple things that the industry is now finding out that actually Pepsi and Coke are getting into being disruptive in the alcohol business. And so we, in the alcohol business, you either make it, you distribute it, or you sell it. You can't have any of those two out of the three. It's just one out of those three. So I've learned a lot about that business, but you have to get government licensing, state licensing, every location audited by, say, the state of Ohio. And we're the first bottler in the country to actually put alcohol on a blue truck that rolls around with Pepsi right now. And so it's called Hard Mountain Dew and Lipton Hard Iced Tea. And so the Coke company, they actually just partner with brands like Topo Chico, but they haven't put it on their red trucks. And then the Pepsi nationally is trying to get in state by state, which is a very difficult business to get into because there's distributors that have been doing this for 100 years, and I call them like oligarchs, that it's tough to break into their business. But anyway, so that's something that's really new, and we're excited to actually launch that and representing the whole country and kind of all eyes on us, whether or not you go to Kroger or Walmart, Meijer, Speedways, independent stores, you can find those products there. So if that's your interest, we have products for you. From a customer perspective, on the top, call it 1/3 of the page, we're in every retailer, and the biggest customers, Kroger and Walmart, Speedway, Dollar General, Walgreens, et cetera. And then on the bottom are really a lot of our partners that we do food service business with. And we're proud partners of big companies in Cincinnati, for example, Penn Station, Gold Star, Skyline. Right down the road here, you have the Jarson Kaplan Theater, and that was the father and mother of Steve Kaplan, one of our owners and co-chairs that sponsor the Aronoff Center. And then we have partners, whether it's us or our fellow Pepsi bottlers, with properties like the Bengals or the soccer team in Cincinnati. And then we have a lot of properties around colleges, universities in Ohio, Kentucky, except for Ohio State's about the only one we don't have. The rest of Ohio, they all pour Pepsi. So we're really proud of Miami and Dayton and Xavier, UC, Northern Kentucky, and a host of others that you can see on there. Something else I found may be interesting to you. So every about 13 to 15 years, Pepsi rebrands and gets maybe refreshing the whole logo. And so what you'll see, and it's public now, so I can talk about it, just very recent. And later this year, Pepsi's going to change from that left side. And if you think about Pepsi, it came out of the globe, if you will, and putting it back in the center. And you see in the red Pepsi name in blue on the bottom. And so that's exciting. There's going to be a host of Super Bowl ad activity coming up next year. But you'll see this in the fourth quarter, and all the packaging will change as well. So there's some pictures of what a fountain unit looked like and now what it would look like, a vending machine or a cooler. And it's really just rebranding and trying to be a little bit sharper blue, and there's a lot of black you can see in it as well, which for the best word I heard is Gen Zennials versus saying Generation X and Millennials and Gen Z. The Gen Zennials are attracted to this, I guess, so we shall see. But our packaging will change, and if you see it on the shelf like this, you'll say, hey, I knew that was coming. Tim told me all about that one time at the Rotary. We also have our own marketing company at Gross & Jarson, so we do a lot of marketing of locally even better. Kentucky Bottled Bluegrass, Pepsi for the whole crew, the Columbus crew is a good partner of ours, the Columbus team. And Dr. Pepper, we have places like Lori's Roadhouse up in Westchester that does about 2,000 people at a concert, and they're going to host the Voices of America up in Westchester with 30,000 people at a country concert this summer. But we do a lot of local marketing, and we're the only bottler in the country who really has our own local agency that brings our brands to life within the marketplace. I always like the proud to be your neighbor in Ohio, OH. From a community sustainability perspective, we try to be best in class. We won Bottler of the Year last year, and we won it in the past of all the Pepsi bottlers. So I got to go to New York and accept the award on behalf of the 2,000 employees. But we believe in being best in class. How are we stronger together and investing in our people? Since I've been there, we've grown a couple $100 million plus added about 400 employees. And so really from a community perspective, when you see those trucks going up and down the road, we make about 80% of what we sell, or the 40 plus million cases that we'll sell. We make 80% of that right here in Ohio or Kentucky. The people that throw it on the shelves, people that load it in the warehouse or the trucks, they're all local, employees who do well and contribute to the community in a host of ways. We do more charitable events across every single market and engaged in every market with what's important to those employees and what's important to that community. So very proud of that. We do a lot on sustainability. Our industry has opportunities from an environmental perspective. So our goal, I'm on the board of the American Beverage Association. That's probably the only time we ever get together with Coke and other kind of competitors. We set our differences aside and really try and solve what's best for the environment and the globe, and then doing things like 100% recyclable bottles being made and remade. How do we collect them better? How do you work with companies like Waste Management and Rumpke's and make sure that these bottles are getting them back and then also getting them recycled? And we're moving to totally 100% recycled PET that we'll actually make ourselves in Columbus and Kentucky. And so that's an exciting project of buying resin, having it recyclable resin, and keeping bottles from the landfill. I'll move on and finish up with one of the things I talked about earlier is just the graphics business. So if you think about the old days, if you went to the Little League ball field, you saw a Pepsi banner and it said, welcome, T-ballers and kick off the season. Somebody just had these stickers and they would stick them on the banner, and or you might see 2 liters at 99 cents and they would just stick them on there. And we took that business from very grassroots and actually started building our own business at Middle Street. And TR Gross, like I said before, is really the brains and the passion behind it. And it's been just a wonderful business that it's selling to really PepsiCo, all the bottlers in the country, beer craft businesses around the country. And actually they support my business, which is G&J. But we have a business that was about a couple $1 million, and then now after 5 years, we're at going to be at $25 million. And so we have 50 employees, going to be 80 by the end of the year. And I'll show you some of the things they do there. But the annual growth of 75% is just uncanny. A lot of you are entrepreneurs in the business and been around business. We're doubling the business about every 2-3 years at the most. And so that's been exciting. It's big equipment that we have to do. Sorry, this slide's a little bit difficult to read, but what we do is we do a lot of graphic design. We actually can do truck design, that you see a truck rolling down the street with whatever they're marketing and advertising. But you'll see what I'm talking about with the different shippers and fleet graphics. But we have a lot of graphic designers and professionals that do this kind of work. So if you see a display and you see the backdrop of faux walls or say that Pepsi signs, we'll make that for the country and distribute it. We just did for the Indy 500. This is all cardboard, by the way. So it's creative designers that these engineers, they put these things together and you have to build it. but that's all cardboard on the left-hand side, and we put them on displays around the market in Indy and in Ohio, and had a lot of fun with it. And so kids love seeing it, and they get pictures with it. We also do the shippers that I was talking about. We can bring a brand to life with Ohio University or our Bubbly brand, and then we put product in those. We also do base wrap. You see the bottom, the Gatorade display, for example, and the Gatorade sign on the bottom there. And then we can be very creative on base wrap. A lot of companies got out of base wrap, so we're taking advantage of that. And we can tie things like Frito-Lay, who's owned by PepsiCo. And we're actually redoing all of our truck graphics. It bugs me when I see a truck going down with missing panels or just old graphics and not looking clean. So we're actually redoing all of our fleet right now with Gatorade, Dr. Pepper, Starry, Mountain Dew, and Pepsi. So hopefully you'll see the new Pepsi on the side of the road, and you can say again, hey, I knew that was coming. So that'll be in a few months. So that's our business, and we're proud to be local. We're proud to be part of all the communities, and we really appreciate you as a consumer. And so, I'm trying to make friends here, so I try to buy you a little bit by giving some coupons away today. They should work everywhere, but if no matter what, it's really for like Warren and Butler counties or in the Kentucky market. So if somebody says, hey, we don't accept that there, just maybe drive on up to Mason, Westchester, Hamilton, or down to Lexington and get a free 20 ounce and a free 12 pack. So that's a presentation. So I'm here to, if anybody has any questions, I'd love to address any subject. Thank you. Yes. It's a really good question. The question is, are we able to buy other bottlers if those 79 other bottlers wanted to sell? And the answer is yes. We actually recently, and the bottler pulled out, but if it's contiguous, we're interested in buying other bottlers if it's close to our market. But PepsiCo has to bless it. And actually, PepsiCo also bids on it. Sounds like collusion, doesn't it? But it's not. But there's other bottlers that bid on it, and it's a sealed bid, and they take the best bidder, if you will. But that is an able opportunity. And G&J, when they started, right, they're small and kept growing, and different markets opened up, hey, Zanesville, Ohio, or Lexington, and then they kept gathering those areas. And then there's sometimes you could trade territories. PepsiCo might want to trade a territory or give it away because it's not maybe the best market for them logistically. I ask that often. They're very protective of their own revenues, but that comes up often. So either bottlers sell or they buy other bottlers, or PepsiCo could do it. Well, actually, I've been with Pepsi or PepsiCo for 28 years out of my 33-year career, and of those years, when I came out of college, Dayton was owned by PepsiCo, and then they spun them back out. They became franchises, became Pepsi Americas. We were a bottler out of Chicago, Minnesota, and then they bought them back in like 10 years after that. So in the future, right now, they're holding on to them. But Coke system basically got rid of all those bottlers, and so Coke is a brand company in Atlanta. And then there's franchisees that own all their bottling systems. So there's different chairpersons and CEOs. They have different ideas sometimes, and so it's a strategic thing. But we're interested. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You had talked about Gen Z and the rebranding of the logo and everything. Have you all moved into social media? Because that's they're very heavily influenced by social media. And I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, the question is, are we into social media? And absolutely have to be. And a lot of brands, really, the brands that are working the best are really supported by social influencers. For example, Gatorade is by far the highest shared isotonic out there. There's different competitors, but Prime, it's really Logan Paul is a big social influencer. These people have maybe 40, 50 million followers. And so the Gen Zennial type of groups, these young people, they really follow those folks. And that's how a lot of brands get to market now. But Pepsi, yeah, we do a lot on social media, whether it's TikTok and Facebook, et cetera. Actually, G&J does. Yes, it does, yeah. Yeah. It's a good question. Yeah, we do, and we have some fun with that, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all those type of things, and Instagram. Back in the corner. Pricing's one of them. They sell us concentrate. It's like baking a cake. You get concentrate and you have ingredients, the salts that you dissolve, add it to the concentrate and add sugar or not sugar, and then we price it. So we have the opportunity to price it as we wish, but there's a fine line of, if you were trying to gouge the customer, there'd probably be issues with that Pepsi would step in. They basically market the brands, but then we also do local marketing. So, if we kind of launch Starry, Pepsi might put $50 million behind it nationally, and then we actually will spend our own money trying to bring it to life in our own markets. And so and sometimes they give us funding for that, sometimes it's self-funded. Does that answer your question? I haven't received that call ever. We work really closely with Pepsi, but there are bottlers out there that are very difficult, and they're less than a handful, and then Pepsi has to, put that influence on. No different if you're a franchisee for, a restaurant, and you didn't want to make the sandwich they want. There's problems with that, So, but majority of the time, we work well together, and there's nothing really that I have an issue with. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, so automation is a critical piece of it, especially in warehousing and production. So we're actually getting into automation ourselves of loading, say, trucks, and then how you put pallets together. So technology is critical. And then also from a technology, probably the biggest concern is there's cybersecurity is the biggest concern, and probably a lot of people have that run a business in this room of hacking and those type of things, and securing your buildings from a safety perspective, cybersecurity out in the world, putting everything in the cloud. I recommend you do it if you don't do it today. We actually got hacked a year ago, and we never got a ransom letter just because we had everything protected, so they really couldn't get after us. But there's other bottlers, like 5 other bottlers been hacked this year, so every industry has it. Yes? It's a good question. People, I'm one of those that love drinking product out of the glass, and it is more sustainable. The cost is significantly higher, and it's actually problematic trying to get glass. During COVID, we had a lot of, we call it the candemic, not being able to get cans, not being able to get bottles, but glass was, the hardest thing to get. Like our Frappuccino brands, cold coffee. So there's manufacturers who got out of the glass business, so to get back into it would be highly ineffective, inefficient. But the taste is the best coming out of a glass bottle, I think. Yes? I'm sorry? Yeah. Yeah, so we're always considering acquisition of brands if it doesn't fit the portfolio, because we sell so much Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, et cetera, in these markets. If you're in the South and you're a bottler, Coke dominates, so you maybe buy a lot of other brands trying to fill your trucks. So we actually stick closely with Keurig Dr. Pepper Company and PepsiCo with those brands, but I'm about to launch a brand of a fellow bottler that came up with that. But I think the success of some of the brands, there's always new brands coming. Like he mentioned Liquid Death and Prime. Those brands, I think the social media influencers is a faster way to get to market. So I get presented brands a lot of times. I got presented a brand the other day, another person, Jason Derulo's 50 million followers, and they can get out there in a heartbeat, or getting Hollywood or some things like that behind your brand. But it's a faster path, but there's not a lot of testing that goes on anymore. We used to test and sample product and make sure it could go to market. Now it just goes, and then you almost see, hey, Does it work or not work? I would tell you most of the time brands fail. There's so many brands that are fads. But if you make it, it's powerful from an opportunity in the world. There's a lot of people out there, men and women, making brands in their garage today that are going to be big brands in the future. So it's always trying to cutting edge, finding those that are up and coming, which is hard to do for PepsiCo or Coke, or they get beat all the time by the entrepreneurial spirit is a lot better for new brands than some of these big companies. It's not a muscle that we do very well, and we don't have patience to incubate brands. It's been my experience, but once they're big enough, then it's worth bringing on. Yeah. It's a great question. It's a very sensitive topic with the brand teams. I was just on a call the other day with all the Mountain Dew national brand members, and they're very cautious of making that mistake and not going there, right? It's about letting consumers choose what they want to drink and not taking too hard of a political stance on what you feel people have to do. And so, but we are very inclusive. PepsiCo is probably one of the most inclusive, diverse companies out of New York from a people perspective and community involvement and those type of things. So, but it's always a fine line. Like you want to be edgy, but also you don't want to alienate what just happened, Bud Light. And there's been other brands, and Target's going through some things right now. Actually, one of the senior executives, a person I know well, Brian Cornell, is the CEO of Target, and so they're under a lot of scrutiny right now, and you make that mistake and your stock drops, 10, 20% in a week or two, and Bud Light has a bigger problem. So it's a really good question that we talk about a lot, of not making that mistake. Both. So I have my executive team on the retail side. We have senior people that call on those customers, but PepsiCo does as well. So PepsiCo is usually taking it from a national perspective, setting kind of the guidelines or the ad calendar, et cetera, and then we also go in and price with them and our fellow ballers. So like in Cincinnati here at Kroger, there's two ballers calling on Kroger Cincinnati, us and PepsiCo's baller. We have to go together and we have to line on pricing. And that's actually how I got to know Gross and Jarson. I used to run Cincinnati, and they ran like Warren, Butler, Hamilton area. And so we had a line, and so I got to know TR and Steve Kaplan very well. And then we go to market that way. So it's both. It's a good question. Complicated at times. And then there's a lot of customers that we just own 100%. And they're mostly the local type of stores, right? You see an independent convenience store, and we have thousands of those, or independent restaurants, thousands of those. So we call on them, by ourselves, if you will. But if it's a national restaurant, like my good friend Jeff Osterfeld, who owns Penn Station, he's now big enough. PepsiCo calls on him nationally, and but we got the business for Jeff way back when, just calling locally. So it's both across all our channels. You're right. We are, actually. I just had PepsiCo's sustainability team in. Oh, yeah, his question is really just sustainability. What are we doing on packaging to try and improve recycling and everything else? And so we're testing in Canada for right now, for example, if you buy a six-pack, half-liter Pepsi, it has a plastic ring around it. And my youngest daughter just graduated environmental sciences. And so I've been cutting those open so, baby seals don't choke, et cetera, since for like the last 20 years. But we're putting cardboard. It's 100% recyclable cardboard that you can pick it up that way. And some packages have that today. If you bought maybe a six-pack of Schweppes Club Soda or tonic, it might be a cardboard versus a plastic ring. And so probably be over in about 10 months, and then we'll have to change our manufacturing capacity. So that's one example. Going to less cardboard on the packages, less plastic, thinner walls on the bottle, that you take plastic out of it, the weight of this. Actually, we just ran a mold the other day that would take, half a gram out of the bottle, and trying to do that. And this cap and closures, trying to have that, recyclable. And so there's about 50 things they're working on, and the industry is working as well. And then it costs money to do that sometimes, and maybe it costs too much money. You got to change your whole line production, and who's going to pay for that, and how do you get your return on investment? But at the same time, doing what's right for the environment. And it's probably the biggest thing that the American Beverage Association works on with water companies, Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Keurig, all the CEOs are there, and it's a great think tank. Hi.
I have a follow-up question to that about the logistics of getting your bottles back. Are all of the manufacturers using the same kind of plastic so you don't have the additional hassle of trying to recover it?
We are, yep. The thing is, the bottles come back, and I lived in Connecticut, and you have, whether 5 cents or 10 cent deposit states have those too, and some states do that better. Where you don't have deposit states, it's really, people putting it at the curb, and it's making sure that all that gets back to recycle. And unfortunately, sometimes, less than 50% of it actually gets back, even though we can recycle every one of those bottles, or we can make clothing out of them. There's a lot of things you can do, but everybody does have consistent type of plastic on the bottles. Yeah. Yeah. Really just those pieces of equipment to make all that are very expensive, so we have ownership that's willing to invest in the capital. But because we have fellow bottlers that are in the same industry and they're using the same type of point of sale material or contra-visions on a store, and those relationships, it's really a relationship business right now. The Gross name, people have known them for 98 years. And so, if I were to call you, say, hey, listen, would you buy from us, versus buying from whoever you were before? And we get a lot of yeses. And then, the NFL and PepsiCo, for example, do great programs, say for the Bengals. And we said, hey, we can make that. And now the NFL and PepsiCo come to us, for, a locker program or Jamar Chase, stand-up Pepsi, those types of things. So, but it's really relationships have been selling that and then trying to figure out which industries to get into. And so we, like 1 degree of separation, get into craft breweries, and because they're putting shippers all over the stores. And so we're having some luck with that as well. And if anybody would ever like to go see it or go see a Pepsi plant in Columbus, Lexington, Franklin Furnace, I can give my contact information. It's a great experience.
That's great.
It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, please. Wow, Tim, thank you so much for being so patient with all our questions. It's fascinating business. I think we could ask you another half an hour's worth of questions. Now, Tim, in addition to socially influencing us, wanted to also to generously offer 4 Reds tickets for a future date to be mutually agreed upon. So we thought we'd go back to this blue ticket bin and we'd get out your blue tickets. If you threw them away, that's a shame because you're out of luck. So Tim, could you socially influence one more person? Thank you. All right. So last 3 digits is 150. Kelly, if it was you, I was going to die. No, Chuck Martz. Well, come see Tim after the meeting. He'll sort it all out. Well, again, Tim, thank you for coming here today. I loved learning about your 98-year-old business, and it's, the monstrous business that is just in our backyard, right? You don't even know about it, and now we have an insight. Appreciate so much your commitment to our community, both as a business and as an employer. We really appreciate that. I love that idea of the Gen Zennial, and of course that hard Mountain Dew. We might need to give away a raffle basket with some hard Mountain Dew. What do you say? It's going to be the blue light table, guys. It's no longer the red light table. Well, as a token of our appreciation, we wanted to present you with this Rotary Club of Cincinnati coin. On the back is the 4-way test. It's the ethical standard by which we are committed to our motto of service above self. And in addition, we'd like to make a donation to the End Polio Now campaign. It's a 4-decade effort to eradicate wild polio from the planet, and we are just this close. I learned from Rotary International that there have been now 3 confirmed cases in 2023. But we're just that close, and we're going to, with your help and with Rotary International's help, we're going to eradicate that disease here very soon. Let's give Tim Trant a big round of applause and appreciation. A couple of final announcements. There are 3 meetings today. The classification meeting is in the Julep Room on the 3rd floor. The World Affairs, they're meeting here in the Hall of Mirrors, and Environmental Sustainability is also meeting here in the Hall of Mirrors. It's a rumble in the Hall of Mirrors. So you guys can sort it out. Next week is Teacher Appreciation Week with our Cincinnati Public School teachers. Hope to see you then. Until then, make it a great week. Meeting adjourned.